In 1980, the Congregation for Doctrine and Faith, which is the body in Rome that would be responsible for some of the teaching of the Church, produced a document, this document called the Declaration on Euthanasia. And despite the fact that it's 33 years old now, it actually still picks out, I think, very clearly what the issues are. And actually there hasn't been any subsequent sort of teaching on those issues because it so clearly does so. The only one, and we'll come to it when we get there, the only area was that final one about nutrition and hydration, that it has become more of a subsequent issue as technology has moved on and ability in those areas have improved. But it's amazing, despite all those sort of movements in those areas medically, that a document from that age is still very helpful. So all I've done is copy chunks from there in response to each of them. And I think in many ways they respond to it exactly what we've said. So, if you remember back all those hours ago, that first situation, the government proposes that for the sake of the country as a whole, people should volunteer for euthanasia at the age of 70. I think the kind of things that we said, the kind of things that we said are what the document's saying, really. It says, human life is a gift of God's love, which we're called upon to preserve and to make fruitful. Therefore, no one can make an attempt on the life of an innocent person without opposing God's love for that person, and therefore without committing a crime of the utmost gravity. So by way of sort of 2 bullet points, it's trying to say, and I think we used that word in one place, that life is sacred, life is God-given to us, and we're called upon to preserve it and to make it fruitful. So as a result then, that no one can permit the taking of innocent life, either by a deliberate act, by doing something, or by omission, by not doing it. The word innocent has only been placed there to avoid entering, particularly at that time, into a discussion with the United States around capital punishment. So rather than the whole thing being hijacked around capital punishment, they simply inserted the word innocent there in order to avoid that discussion. But the teaching has become clearer as time has gone by, but has consistently spoken about the inappropriate use of the death penalty, really, as a response to situations like that. But it was just didn't want to get into it anyway, which is why the word innocent is so deeply hijacked. Does that seem sort of fair enough? I think that's what we were saying, as an underlying sort of principle. I think that's what we're trying to hold on to. But the second one, we're trying to sort of push it a bit. So, well, if that's true, is that true always and everywhere, in every situation? And the situation we had there was about John, this terminally ill man with cancer of the stomach, who's in pain, who can be administered something like morphine, which will relieve the pain, but it will also have the effect of shortening his life. What the document sort of says, it describes a situation similar to the one we've described ourselves. And it goes on to say then, in this case, death is no way intended or sought, even if the risk of it is reasonably taken. The intention is simply to relieve pain effectively, using for this purpose painkillers available to medicine. The word intention, I think, was one of the ones we used a lot, wasn't it? What is it I intend? What do I intend? But it goes on, and just to sort of clarify in moral theology how people have sort of tried to talk about that. Traditionally, and I think I heard yourselves mention it over here, traditionally the way moral theology is spoken about one action which has 2 distinct effects has been called the principle of double effect. And here it's the same sort of thing. One action, administering morphine, has two distinct effects. It has an effect of shortening life, but it also has the effect of relieving pain. And the principle has sort of suggested that an action can be considered morally justifiable if it meets four conditions, which are what the principle was about. And the first was that the action should be good in and of itself. So here's an action to administer a drug, but it's that kind of action. Secondly, that the good effect shouldn't come by means of the bad effect. So that they're two distinct things. So that there'd be a difference between taking a pillow, put it over John's head and say, he's out of pain now. You know, that the good effect not coming by means of the bad effect, that they're two distinct sort of things. And I think that's perhaps a response to what we were sort of suggesting over here about direct or indirect. Even, you know, the principle would be talking about something different. Even if somebody was in the most considerable pain, to take away that pain by an injection of some kind, this is trying to say, well, that isn't the case. This is about, because that would be about relieving the pain directly by that. What this is saying is one individual action, two distinct effects. So, a good effect in and of itself, the good effect not coming by means of the bad one. Thirdly, that it's not the bad effect, as it were, isn't deliberately intended, which is what we're sort of talking about. His death is not what we intend, it's the good effect is really pain. That's it intended. And then just fourthly, that there's a proportionality between the two. So the benefit that it's going to bring him by way of relieving his pain is in proportion to the bad effect, the shortening of his life, that it's going to bring. So if Larry had a bad foot, you know, and he took a drug that was going to shorten his life by 10 years as a result, he'd say, well, there isn't much proportionality between the two. It's relieving a small amount of pain, and actually it's shortening his life by a significant amount. In a situation like this, what we're describing is somebody who is in significant pain, and that actually it's shortening his life. I mean, it depends often by a number of hours, perhaps a day and a half, to at the very most. It's not a huge sort of thing in these sort of circumstances. And you'd recognise a proportionality